Sills. Big show. I like that, right? Angelo Cataldi will be with us at the bottom of this hour. The segment with my friend Tone at 3:30. Still waiting if CBS lets our friend out of production, Phil Simms. Waiting on that still. So, a lot of folks potentially jumping on with us here. We appreciate you guys coming aboard. You have so many other options. Thank you so much. I want to start it out by doing this, though. Today's the first day you get a chance to qualify for our Hooters. And we so look forward to this each and every single week. We thank you. All you have to do to qualify for your chance to win some gift certificates with our friends at Hooters is to go to Sileo Show at gmail.com. That means you give us your information. You identify a code word that my friend Tone will throw out through the entire 4-hour program. Football Monday, we'll announce the winners, and you get an opportunity maybe to get in line to win yourself a grand prize. That'll be at the end of the year, but gift certificates and merchandise. And all you have to do is send us the information, Sileo Show at gmail.com. First day to start qualifying. That word will be out throughout the entire 4-hour show, so we look forward to it. You know, before I get going here with our topics here, hey, will you guys do me a favor? Do me a favor. Throw out 21-1 for me. 5-0. Okay, that's good. Give me a 21-1. Give me a 21-1. Because like you guys say, you can't ignore that, right? 21-1. You can't ignore it. Right, guys? You really can't ignore that. Then how do people in the NFL ignore 42-19? Jalen Hurts is not 22-1. Okay? He's not. But he's won those amount of games because you guys forgot the first 2 and 5 start to his career, which most Philadelphians like to do. They like to always code it, making it look bigger and better than it is, and it's not. It's a great run, though, since actually the play calling was taken away from Nick Sirianni. Why do people not look at 42-19 with Garoppolo and go, that's amazing? How do you ignore that? How do you ignore 42-19, but yet you guys acknowledge 22-1? How do you acknowledge that? Tell me. How do you acknowledge that? How do you acknowledge that? Keon goes, because he sucks ass. See, 42-19 to him is horrible. But 21-1 to you and a silver medal is fabulous, right? I don't see how you're looking at it that way. Okay? I mean, how do you don't look at what that guy has done in his career at 42-19? He doesn't have amazing passing stats, and neither does Hurts. I mean, how do you look at what in the world has he not done? Is it win the big game? Your guy hasn't either. Now, Garoppolo's been in the league longer. I get it. By the way, weren't they both like second-round picks? Was Jimmy G a second-rounder or a third-rounder? I forget what round. I know that the Patriots got a 2 for him from San Francisco. I don't remember what round he was taken. Stats? 42-19 is not a stat. It's a 1-loss record. That's not a stat. Don't you want 42-19 is not a stat. That's who you are. That's who you are. That's not a stat. Oh, okay. So Garoppolo at 42-19 is horrible. And your guy at 22-1, you acknowledge. Okay. Hey, I don't agree with that. Like Troy Aikman said last night, you can't ignore that. Let me say this to you. You think the Cowboys would rather have Garoppolo or Dak Prescott? You think he'd rather, you think the Dallas Cowboys, do you think the Cowboys would rather have Garoppolo or Dak Prescott? Who would you want if you were on that football team and you were in Dallas right now? It's not, I have said nothing negative here. I'm asking you, why do you look at 42-19 as not a good record? But actually, what's Hurts's overall record? 22 and what? 22-16? What's his overall record? I mean, because again, 2-5, then they went, 9-8? Right? 9-8, then 14-3, right? So he's 23-11. Oh no, counting this year, 2-5. He's 28-11, right? So he's 28-11. I think that's the record, right? 28-11, 28-11. So he's 28-11, and Garoppolo's 42-19. And you think that's bad? Interesting how you have a different perspective on people. I agree with Troy Aikman and Joe Buck last night. Dude, you could give me, hey, so who would you rather be, Kirk Cousins or Garoppolo? Who would you rather be, a guy who wins more or a guy who throws for more yards or has great stats? Shit, the guy in Baltimore wins more games than Jalen. I'm just asking you how you look at these numbers and where they are when, at the end of the day, this is all about not winning just regular season ball games. You don't make your legacy in the regular season. You make it in the postseason. That's where your legacy is. Hurts is got so much positive press because of what he did during the regular year to set up that Super Bowl, and it's warranted. I'm not dismissing that. I am not dismissing that, but I'm not going to dismiss 42-19 either. He got to a Super Bowl. His Super Bowl was close too. I mean, he's got an NFC title ring, same as Jared Goff does. You know, I mean, and now he's with the Raiders. Tremendous. I mean, how you look at that. You look at a guy that's 28-11, and you're like this, man, this guy's great. And you look at a guy who's 42-19, and you say he sucks. I thought it was a really interesting comment that Aikman made last night. You just can't dismiss that. You just can't. All right. Angelo Cataldi will be with us at the bottom of the hour. I want to throw this at you here before we get into the topics. And before Angelo comes on, the brotherly shove is becoming truly an identity for the city of Philadelphia. And now the NFL wants to truly try to take that thing away. You're even debating it on different shows now, whether or not it's an illegal play. And I got to say this to you. I never thought that I would ever say this because I really didn't believe it, but now I am believing it. If this was in any other market like Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Los Angeles, if one of the LA teams had come up with this, this would be a revolutionary new thing. Okay? There's only two places that this play would be illegal. You know where that would be? New England with Belichick. And, well, if Brady was still in New England, they would still allow it. But now because Brady's not up there and it's just Belichick, it would be considered illegal. But then again, Maybe they would outlaw it, but they didn't when Brady was there. So I'm not thinking when Brady's there. There is no question that because it's in Philly, Jerry Jones has to be crying to the competition committee, because I'll tell you what I would be doing right now. If I was the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, you guys just don't have a 2-game lead on the Cowboys in the NFC East. You got a 10-year lead on them. You are moving so far ahead. I actually heard Skip Bayless say this, that Jerry Jones is a wizard with the salary cap. I almost threw up. He's the best capologist, that guy said. I'm like, are you crazy? The guy in Philly's the best. Man. They're now trying to outrun that 49er debacle. Did you hear what Micah Parsons said today? Let me show you how the media starts going on the side of the Cowboys and pumping them back up. They're 3-2 with 2 horrific. I'll tell you this, the Colts look better than the Dallas Cowboys. That team in Detroit is better than Dallas. They are better. Should Belichick be sorry he let Jimmy G go? Yeah, Brady and Kraft came to each other's rescue and sent Garoppolo packing. Belichick had the heir apparent. They made him get rid of it. That's why they're not firing him. Don't you get that? They're not firing Belichick because Belichick could always fire back this. Hey, man, I had the guy. 42-19. I had the guy. You made me move him. You made me move him. That's a fact. Here's Parsons today. What's the exact quote? I got to get this quote here. Parsons said this, and I'm going to paraphrase this. He said that we are on the same level as a playoff team with San Francisco. This is after they got their shit pushed in. That's delusional. That is absolutely delusional. Micah Parsons actually thinks he's still as good as San Francisco after they thoroughly dominated them. You live in a land of delusion when you are a member of the Cowboys. You are in a land of delusion when you are a coach for the Cowboys. It's fantasy football to the highest degree when you have that mentality after you get killed. How do you sit there as a coach and justify one of your star players going, we're just as good as San Francisco, when you got your shit smacked in? There's right there the lack of accountability. Right there. That guy sniffing airplane glue. There was not one time in that game I didn't think San Francisco was going to kick the shit out of that team. I actually didn't think that game was going to be close. San Francisco and the Eagles are the bullies of the block, with Detroit knocking on the door, not Dallas. Jerry Jones goes on 2 radio shows a week in Dallas, and he is going to do everything he can to outlaw that play. Right now, the Eagles are so far ahead as an organization, not just the quarterback. Guys, you don't have just a 2-game lead on them. You have a decade lead on them. You do everything right. Let me give you an example of this. Look at what you just did with your defensive tackles. Hey, it looks like you're right and I'm wrong here with Jordan Davis. His last two drafts, look at what Roseman did by having the foresight to see this. He knows what 2 years ago when I first started covering you, one guy was making $17 million a year at DT. The other guy was making $12.6. You had $32 million 2 years ago wrapped up in Javon Hargrave and Fletcher Cox, right? $30 million in your two tackles. Do you know what you have right now? 10 years, youth, and $5 million between two guys. It's not just the fact they're playing well. It's the money. Look at the money. Look at the money. You moved off of $20 million. Look at what you saved last year. You moved off a $20 million DT. You got Fletcher to take a pay cut. And now you've got two starting defensive tackles that are in their first and second year making rookie money and playing at Pro Bowl levels. And you're number one against the run. That's called doing it right. That's how you win for extended periods of time. Let me give you another example. People are like this. Well, the Broncos are going to have like the second pick in the draft, and they can't move off of Russell Wilson. Do you know Russell Wilson's escalators haven't even kicked in yet? They're going to be selling Jerry Jeudy soon. They're going to be selling pieces of that Bronco team because you know what they're going to be forced to do? They're going to have to trade that number 2 pick so that they can get multiple rookie picks because they don't have the money. It has destroyed the Russell Wilson deal. The Eagles easily could have been the Broncos. Do you understand that? You had a deal in place. If it wasn't for Wilson vetoing it, that's the luck of it. The strategy is what they did with the 2 tackles. Okay? Dude, and look at what they did, the Cowboys. They drafted Mozzie Smith, who's a 3rd rounder at best. How do you not get on the field when teams like San Francisco and Arizona run you off it, running the ball, and you're supposed to be a run stopper? What were you looking at? He's not a quick twitch guy. You watch Jalen Carter. He looks like a sprinter. It's night and day. Then on draft day, by the way, this stuff with Jalen Carter having character issues and all the shit that came up in the combines, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I think he had a bad moment. I don't think that kid at all has bad character. I think that was agent talk, other organizations, because they passed on him like Chicago. I don't believe he has bad character. I never heard any of that until they got to the combines. That was made up. That kid is ready. He's primed. He's focused. He looks like a great teammate. Everyone likes him. Sorry, I'm not buying that media crap. I don't believe, hey, did he have a bad moment, an awful moment? Someone lost their, absolutely. I do not believe that there is a character issue with Jalen Carter at all. At all. He has not shown one sign of that. There is nothing but a horrific moment in his life. Horrific moment in his life. Hey, moments can shatter lives. I get it. Okay? But look at look at the insight here. Look at how much money you've cut that D tackle position down from 2 years ago. Think of this. You went from $30 million down to the rookie first round salaries for two guys. You basically cut $25 million off of your defensive tackle starting position. I mean, $25 million. Yeah, $25 million. It's incredible. And you're number one against the run. You're number one against the run. Killing it, man. Hey, by the way, I think the Defensive Rookie of the Year award is going to come down between the guy, Devin Witherspoon, and Jalen Carter. Witherspoon's already been named the NFC Defensive Player of the Week. I don't believe Carter has had that distinction yet. I think he will get one. He could get it this week for the 2 sacks against the Rams. But I think it's going to come down between those two guys. It's going to come down to Witherspoon and him when it comes to the Defensive Rookie of the Year. Just no question about it here. The Cowboys are so far behind now. They are so far behind you. Jerry Jones right now has an ego problem. Think about cutting costs at the linebacker position, too. The Eagles, that Kaiser White and TJ Watt, Cunningham and Morrow ended up being more productive than we thought. Correct. Especially Morrow. Think about what they've done there with that. There's $14 million that was paid out to those two men annually. Both these guys, if I'm not mistaken, I think combined they make $2.5 million. Jesus. Dude, the money in the NFL has to be part of how you look at team building. It's why it's so difficult to repeat and continue greatness, is because you have to constantly be thinking about the salary implications that you have on your football team. There's one thing that I get with the MO of the Eagles right now, they're going to spend a ton of money on their D-line and O-line. They're going to spend all their money on the offensive side of the ball, and they're sporadically going to make deals and trades with players they see out there for sure things. See, again, this comes down to how the Eagles pay people. Howie Roseman would go like this to guys like James Bradbury. Maybe he's not a $14 million guy, but he's a $14 million talent. And so you know what he does? He pays him $8 million. Slay's not a $17 million guy anymore, so he pays him $10 million. Even if he's not playing up to snuff, say the guy's not playing well, you're not getting killed in the cap. Well, he's just not playing well. We'll move on. And that's why you give him the money up front. It's really brilliant thinking. The Cowboys do not think like this. The Cowboys do not think like this. They look at star names. See, Jerry thinks the name on the back of the jersey is so important to the brand, and it's not. You could put anybody in that Dallas Cowboy helmet, and the Cowboys are going to have enormous ratings. That thing with the 49ers got 26.1 million people. Do you really think they give a shit whether Mozzie Smith is playing for the Cowboys or Micah Parsons? Micah Parsons is not a star. He wears the star. That guy is not a star. I have seen. It's infuriating, and I get it now why Eagle fans get pissed off at Dallas. I've been told for 2 years that Micah Parsons is a star. From week 8 to the end of last year, I didn't see that guy but for 1 sack. In 2 games that mattered, the shitty Arizona game and the game against San Francisco, he was punked. That's not a star. I'll make this point to you too, dude. Who has been more of a star in 2 years? Hassan Reddick or Micah Parsons? Who has been more impactful in games that matter? Micah Parsons doesn't close games out. Hassan Reddick closed that Ram game out. Just when the Rams got the ball, could have made it a one-score game with a touchdown, 2 sacks, over. Night. He is a situational big play guy. You pay, Jimmy Johnson used to tell me, I pay for guys that are around the ball in big moments. I don't pay big money for people who have big stats. If you make big plays in big moments, you're an impact player. You can have 10 sacks. 10 sacks on your resume. And then you look at it and you go, damn, Chandler Jones had 10 sacks and 5 in one game. What did he do the rest of the year? Nothing. Nothing. Howie builds this team. And you know what? He builds this team around the cash register. He runs this thing around the cash register. And you know what he's done too? Decided to keep his talent in the SEC. So he's going, hey, look, I'm going to tell you this. If you draft 10 guys out of the Southeastern Conference, you're going to land on 6 of them. If I draft 10 guys out of the Pac-12, I'm going to land on 4 of them. If I draft guys out of the Big Ten, 10 of them, I'm going to land on 5 of them. You're playing the law averages on where the best players in the country. I'm not going to the ACC. You'll land on 3 guys from that conference. Wake Forest, Duke. Give me a break. Those aren't great programs. Telling you, man, look at what they have done in Philadelphia with the way that they have moved the money around. Russell Wilson is destroying the Denver Broncos, and that guy was coming to Philly. If it wasn't for him vetoing that deal, Philly'd be in the Broncos position right now. He'd be in the Bronco position. And before I bring Angelo on here, I'm going to say this to you about that Cowboy thing one more time. The Cowboys aren't just 2 games back in the NFC East. They're 10 years back. That franchise is 10 years back. And that guy, Micah Parsons, that guy is so overrated, he's not Pat Swilling. I saw that guy get killed by the shitty Arizona Cardinals. Who's on that team? Josh Dobbs? Is that the guy, the journey guy that been going like 5 or 6 teams? Holy Maron. You got to be kidding me. Howie has done a great job with the cash register.